Hello. Welcome to a mini episode of Garden to Table with Rose, and I am Rose. So I'm in my backyard garden for a few minutes here. I have a little break, but it is mid-June, and I'm in Kalamazoo, Michigan, Zone 6A. And there are just a couple of things back here I wanted to capture on film before they go over. This weekend, which is a long weekend, should be my last week of really getting the garden situated for the season. Meaning all the heavy lifting is done, all the mulching that I'm going to do, all the planting really that I'm going to do, and major weeding and pruning. That's once I do all that, then it becomes a little bit simpler because then I just have to, do occasional weeding and watering and fertilizing, which is pretty straightforward. So there's just a couple of things going on back here. In the backyard, as you know, is my working garden, I call it, because things are in a row and it's just kind of like for production for the most part. So it's not pretty like the front. I mean, it's pretty, but not like the front. But I have all of these peas that I need to come out here and harvest soon, because they're going to get too big. And when they get too big, then they get kind of tough. But these are snow peas. There's purple ones and green ones. The purple ones tend to turn a weird color, or sometimes even green when you cook them. So a lot of times I like to eat those raw, but I won't be eating these raw because most of these are large now, so they're not as tender. So I will probably stir fry all of these, but I have to harvest all of these peas soon. And then let's see, let me turn around here. This coneflower is going to bloom soon. This is just a traditional purple coneflower. This hydrangea has gotten so tall just this season. I mean, just 2 months ago, it probably was only a foot tall. Now it's like 3-4 feet tall. But anyway, I do have some berries on my Josta berries, which I have never actually gotten to harvest any yet. They've just kind of took a few years to get mature. Now these are the gooseberries here. The goose, I can tell them apart because the gooseberry bushes have thorns. Big, giant, you can see that, but they're sharp, big thorns. And the Josta berries do not have thorns. Now the Josta berry is supposed to be a cross between a gooseberry and a currant in flavor. I'll let you know when I actually get some and taste them. And those I may probably eat fresh if they're sweet enough. Okay, here's the Josta berries here. As you can see, they look like tiny gooseberries, really. But they're not ripe. They're still very hard, and they probably, I believe those turn purple. And then over here, I have more gooseberries, which you can see the gooseberries are a lot bigger than the Josta berries. So that's what I got going on. Strawberries have been blooming a few. I don't have too many plants, so I only get maybe a handful every few days, which is fine for me. If I need a bunch of them, I'll just buy some. They're in season now. I have to cut back. This mint is taking over this bin, and there are 2 tomatoes in the back of there. I don't even have my tripod. I'm out here with nothing. There are more tomatoes in that big bin back there. This one is still empty, so I need to put something in there. I'll probably put some kind of annual in there since we're already well into the season. These are peppers that I think I started these from seed, so they're just jalapenos mostly, and maybe a couple of serranos in there. And then there are more tomatoes in these pots. I tend to grow tomatoes in containers. It's just easier for me to control them, and I don't need a ton of tomatoes. I mean, I'm not really canning. I haven't canned in a couple of years because I still have so many. This is the other thing I wanted to point out. Look at that clematis. Now, I'm going to say it. I always say it. This is my $3.50 clematis bare roots that I got from Walmart maybe 2 seasons ago. This is the second year it's bloomed, and look how many blooms are on there. I've been cutting parts of it off because it's just getting too massive. But it is full of blooms, big purple flowers, and it's just going strong, and we're just in mid-June. The peonies are finishing up. They're just the last few buds that I need to cut off here because they're going over But I was able to harvest a lot of peonies this season, so I was very grateful for that. Everything is getting lush. Those are potatoes in there. Here's my big strawberry bin, which I just harvested from this morning. I did want to show you my new little garden art I got here. Look at this. I'm gonna post a picture of this on Facebook too. I try to post to Instagram too. It used to post automatically for me through Facebook, but for some reason it's not working anymore, so I don't know. I have to see what's going on. But I got this from Gardener Supply. And it's just a metal stake structure thing, and then you can buy these colored bottles. You can use your own, but I got the bottles from Gardener Supply because they had a set that was pretty colorful. It took 2 sets of their bottles, because I think you get 6 per set to fill this thing up. But I like it. It's whimsical, so it didn't really fit in the front, because the front is more formal, I think. The front garden is more like more like an English garden, I guess. But back here, is a little bit of everything. So I put it back here. Plus, it'll be protected from the wind, and I don't want those glass bottles to be blown anywhere to possibly break. But I just love that. Yeah, it's so pretty, and I can see it from my kitchen window, which is nice, or from the patio. And so here we are, the rows. This is why I call it a production garden. It's just a rows of stuff, mostly flowers. Getting to be more perennials here than annuals, which is fine because, as you know, I've said it before, I'm just kind of trying to switch over to mostly perennials so that it's less work for me every season and less expensive. Seeds cost a lot, plugs cost a lot, but a lot of the stuff I don't necessarily use all the time in bouquets, but I just like having it here to look at. Like those delphiniums back there, they come back every year. They're super tall. Sometimes I'll cut the smaller ones and use them in bouquets, but for the most part they're almost as tall as me. There's not much I can do with those indoors, so I just look at them, and I like them for the pollinators. I got lots of pollinators that visit all the time. There's bees everywhere right now, and then other stuff is going over. The Sweet William is almost done. The bachelor's buttons are almost done. That bellflower right there, that stuff bloomed prolifically. I had to pull a lot of it out. It was just a mass. I got mostly white blooms. There was a couple of purple. There's a couple of pink, but it was mostly white. It was must have been a seed mix that I had of different colors. But I really like that flower if you can get the shorter stems for bouquets. The interesting thing about this flower is that it blooms from the top down, which is unusual for this style of flower. I mean, usually these I don't know what you call it, spiky flowers, usually they start blooming from the bottom and then they open upward. This goes in the opposite direction, which is really interesting. But it's just a pretty simple flower, and like I said, the smaller ones are really good in the cut flower bouquets. And then over there you can see see all those bees on that verbascum, which is another perennial. And over here, of course, I've said before, I just have a lot of hellebores. I love hellebores, and like I said before, they're the only thing that's blooming around here. Even in the winter, I can come out and cut some. I think I came out for Christmas or Thanksgiving and cut some, and that was all there was going on out here to take inside. Yeah, so I'm doing my final weeding, and then I'm going to preen, and then hopefully I won't have to contend with too many weeds after that for the rest of the season. Lots of this nigella came up this year, which is very cute. The only issue is it's kind of hard to harvest because the stems are so thin. They will bend easily, so you have to be very gentle with it. And then there's all of this ferny stuff on there that you have to take off if you're going to use it in a bouquet, so it's a little tedious. It also gets these pretty seed heads on it once it finishes blooming, as you can see here. So those are interesting too, and those are good for drying. I do dry them, and you can use them in dry flower arrangements. I try to make a wreath every year, a dried flower wreath with things from my garden, so hopefully I can make one this year. I did plant my squashes over here now that a lot of flowers are gone. So I got squash, summer squash, winter squash coming up. What else do I have back there? There's a lavender back there, getting bigger. I love the smell of lavender. And then there's a bunch of yarrow. This yarrow will be coming out at the end of the season. As I told you, if I leave it in for more than 2 years, it becomes this massive, unbelievable thing. And as you can see, this is year 2. Look how big these things are. They're 3 to 4 feet tall. That one back there is almost as tall as the fence. That's a yellow one. So all of those will have to be pulled out at the end of the season. And there are a couple of small ones that I will leave for next year, and then I'll probably plant a couple of more next year in the spring. But yeah, they get massive here, and they're perennial, so they just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But they do make a good cut flower, and they make a great dried flower as well. Let me go to the other side. I've been doing a lot of weeding and planting. Oh my. And I still am not done, but almost. Over here, I got a lot of this Clarkia is what this is. It's very pretty. Let me go over here. I've never grown it before. Oh, under this trellis, I got my cucumbers coming, watermelon, cantaloupe, honeydew. Hopefully they get produced. I've never grown this flower before, Clarkia, but it's really pretty. I can see doing just straight bunches of that in a vase. More of the sea holly. I find it everywhere that I don't like. I tell you why I don't like it. I mean, it's okay as a filler. The look of it does to me look very desert-like. Like it reminds me of a cactus or something, which is different. But it's pokey and has these things that get sharp. They're sharp. So they're thorn-like, and I mean, I don't really like that texture. I don't like messing around with that texture, and I don't think I'll be planting that again. Hopefully that's not a perennial. I have a bunch of starts here. These are all sunflowers. What are those? Probably zinnias, I believe. These are all zinnias. There's a bunch of basil here on this front row. All these little bushes are blueberries. And then even over there, I planted my cosmos because I lost I think it was a loganberry, and I never even got a berry off of it. I had it for a few years. It never produced, but it died. So I took it out, and then I put cosmos there. But I think I still have a boysenberry, a marionberry, I think, or a tayberry, and then the rest of these are all blackberries. All my blackberries are thornless, and then that may be just a regular blackberry. I'm not sure. I'd have to find the tag down in there, but I know that one has thorns. That's the only one I have that has thorns, and that's because I couldn't find that variety thornless, and I believe that is boysenberry. So yeah, but all the, except for this thorny one, the others have flowers and are setting fruit. So I always get a number of blackberries, thank goodness. Back here, I have asters in here. I bought plugs for that, and as you can see, they're getting big, so I have a lot of those. I will prune all of my fruit and nut trees again towards the end of the month. After the summer solstice, I usually trim them again because I don't want them to get too tall. You can see how tall this cherry tree has gotten. It's taller than the fence now, which means it's 7 feet at least. Yeah, so I try to keep all my trees 6 feet or less for the most part, because I want to be able to harvest from the ground. I don't want them to get out of control. This is the field I've been cleaning up this week. This is where mostly I had all my tulips over there, so that will lay dormant. Right now you see all this grass growing up. That is from the hay. It just all sprouted, which is fine. It's really easy to pull out. It's very shallow rooted, but I have to go through and pull all that out, and then I'm gonna prune it, and then eventually, once it gets cooler, I will cover that area. I usually cover it with some little plastic fencing or chicken wire or something, because I don't want any critters digging up my bulbs and eating them. These 2 rows have a lot of herbs and a lot of garlic and onions, and that's my little asparagus patch, which I've cut down already. I usually leave it till the very end of the season, but the big ferns were 6 foot tall and they were falling over. I didn't feel like tying it all up, so I just cut them down. Hopefully that doesn't affect them coming back. They've been there a while. What else? I put in these 2 new hydrangeas. It's so bright out here. These 2 new hydrangeas. These are the white weddings, and they look a little sad because I just put them in the ground yesterday or the day before yesterday, and so they're getting acclimated. And it's really hot this week, or for us it's gonna be 88 today, I think, which for us is hot. So, but there's also supposed to be thunderstorms, so the rain will do them some good. What else? And these are hollies. I don't point these out often because I don't really think about these until fall comes and winter, because they get, the red berries. So I do use them in flower arrangements once it gets cold. Over here, I finally got the window box back on. I finally got that screwed back on. And then all of these lilies, they're like multiplying. I'm pretty sure I didn't plant this many lilies over here, but they have grown in abundance. Most of these I don't use for bouquets because a lot of them have pollen. I think most of them may have pollen, and I just don't like messing with that pollen. If that gets on fabric, it doesn't come out, it stains. You can pull the pollen anthers off, but you got to keep up with it because as the flowers open, you have to pull them right away. So a lot of these I don't cut. Some I do and bring in, but they're all going to be blooming soon. And then the honeysuckle, oh gosh, this is not good on this bright sun. The honeysuckle is blooming. This honeysuckle smells amazing. It's a very sweet smell. Literally smells kind of like honey and flowers mixed together. And then I have a hydrangea back here. This hydrangea, I don't think it's ever blooms, but now it has some size on it, so it's a panicle. I'm not sure which one, but I'm looking forward to seeing that bloom. The privet has filled out. I love that color. And then I did plant corn all along this fence line, but only so many survived. I planted it down the whole fence line because, one, I wanted to make kind of a screen, because this neighbor behind me, his dogs are, if they come outside, they start barking at me. They're jumping on the fence. They're a nuisance. So I kind of wanted to have something there just as a screen. Maybe they won't see me or hear me. But anyway, only so many of the corn stalks are coming up. There's critters that come back here. I found that a lot of chipmunks are attacking my bird feeders, so maybe they ate the little kernels that I planted. But there are a few. I didn't really need any corn. Right on cue. I didn't really need any corn. But I planted them for a screen. And I have planted it all along this section of this fence. But now with the hay that has sprouted, I'm not sure which is corn, which is hay, if the corn even sprouted. If it's not all hay, who knows. I'm gonna let this get a little bit taller so I can try to differentiate what's what, and then I'll chop it all down if I don't see any corn. There's nothing else to point out back here. Everything's green and doing what it's supposed to do. The trees are getting a lot taller back here. The shrubs are getting taller and fuller. So yeah, it's looking good. And the only little arborvitae are finally taking off 3 years later. I'm looking forward to those being a bit taller, like 6 feet tall, so it can be like a little screen there. So far my citrus and my figs in these bags seem to be doing okay. Hopefully these figs will come to ripening, and I will be able to eat them. This one, a couple of them are getting soft. So hopefully that'll be the first time I ever got a fig, for sure. And then my green stalks are still going with veggies and that kind of thing. Those pots over there have lots of potatoes in them. That incredible hydrangea is doing well. It's getting big and it has a lot of flowers on it. So, and then back here I have more annuals. This thing is full of Lysianthus, and I believe some of the asters are in here too. And they're getting tall. I do need to put flower netting on this weekend. Oh, come on. Now somebody else is mowing. It's just a lot of noise. And then broccoli is still growing. I'm hoping it speeds itself up because it's going to get too hot and then it's going to bolt. And then I did put some annuals in there, goldenrod I think that is. I needed a space for them, so I put them in there. But you can see there's some broccoli heads. The cauliflower didn't seem to do as well because I don't see any heads on the cauliflower. I see a lot of green stuff, a lot of leaves, but I don't see no cauliflower heads. And like I said, it's gonna get too hot for these brassicas soon, so hopefully, yeah, at least I can harvest the broccoli and call it a day. So that's just a little quick update of the back garden. I don't spend too much time back here on the videos because it's, like I said, production, and it's usually a mess. There's just all kinds of stuff everywhere back here. But onions, that whole row is onions right in front of this little fence, and you can see them standing up. I did weed that area at least already. But yeah, I'm gonna get lots of onions this season, that's for sure. All right, but that's all I got for today. You guys stay cool and enjoy the weekend. Hopefully some of you have a long weekend this weekend too. There's a federal holiday this week. I think it's Thursday, so a lot of people probably took Friday off, and so awesome. Enjoy. Until next time, bye bye.